Today I'm going to be changing the air filter and the spark plugs on my Kawasaki ER6f. It's a 2008 model, so if you have an ER6f, Ninja 650R or the ER6N, it should be pretty much the same. So this here is the filter I'm going to be putting on. That's the DNA filter. I'll show that more when it's time to actually install it. And these are the spark plugs I'm going to install. So first of all, we need to remove the seat. The lock is on the left hand side, looking towards the front of the bike. You just got to pop the key in, turn it slightly, it only turns a little bit, then lift the seat up from the rear, pull it back and away from the bike, and it's off. The next thing we need to do is take these two bolts off. They hold the seat catch on, what the seat goes into and holds into, and it also holds the tank in place and on, basically, because it's just got two rubber mounts that the front is designed to just cup into. Now they're off, the tank is pretty much ready to come off, but I've just got to take the side panels off first. There's one screw right there, you just need to take that off. Once that is done, all you have to do is pull towards you, away from the bike, and it will come straight off. Just be careful because there is a rubber grommet at the front, right on the tip, which just cups onto the bottom of the tank just to prevent rattling or any damage to the tank. They come off very easy. There's just a few plastic nubs that go into some rubber grommets and they come off very easy and go on very easy, but they do hold nice and sturdy. Then we need to take the fuel pump electrical connector off, well, pull it apart from itself. At first you may feel going to be a bit difficult. It looks like there's like two tabs on the side and one on the front that you might have to press down all at once and then pull out. But right on the front, as I'm holding it at the start of this, it's at the top. You just actually lift it up and you don't need to hold it and it'll just be able to pull apart nice and easily. Next you need to prop the tank off with the bits of wood or a piece of wood or something like that, whatever you can get to hold it up. And the next thing is, as far as I'm aware, just a breather pipe, a pressure release pipe. It has a little pinch clamp on the top, which you may be able to do with your fingers. If not, use a pair of pin nose pliers or something. But I managed to get it off easily with my hands and I didn't even need to pinch this clamp. It came off relatively easy still. Then we need to go around to the other side of the tank and take the actual fuel pump line off. It's fairly easy to do. First off though, you need to pull that tab back, the red part you can see. I've already actually done that because I've done it while the camera was around the other side, so you couldn't really see it, so I've cut that out. All you need to do is get yourself a flathead screwdriver. A fairly large one will make it a little bit easier, and just gently put that into the closest part to you. You'll see it as I'm seeing it now, or as you're seeing it now. And you just need to put the screwdriver in there, just twist it to pull it out, and then just use your fingers to make sure it's fully out. Then after that, put a bit of tissue down underneath where the pipe is. Hold a bit of tissue in your hands while you're doing it as well. You will get a little bit of spillage of fuel when you pull it off, but it's only going to be a small amount, a few drips, nothing more. You don't really notice much come out. Just be careful when you do pull it off because it's quite tight on there and it might suddenly come off. Now it's time to take the tank off. Everything's disconnected. Silly me, didn't think through this enough, so I got in front of the camera. But all you need to do is grab the front, grab the back, lift the back up, pull it away from the front of the bike and pull it away. Just make sure you prop it up on something so the fuel pump is not leaning on anything, so it doesn't damage it in any way. You'll notice here that I've taken off one of the electrical connectors on the airbox. That's for when I do the spark plugs, but that's going to be in a separate video. So for now we just need to remove that rubber pipe. You can take it all the way off or you can just turn it out of the way, just while I change the air filter. All you need to do is get yourself a Phillips screwdriver again and take the screw out of the top, then you'll be able to pull the air filter out. And as you can see, I'm not sure if this has been on since new, 2008, but it's very filthy. I don't think it's ever been taken out and cleaned or replaced. And this is the DNA filter, comes in a bag. It is pre-oiled, I think. And this is some rubber grease, and you just need to put that around on the gasket to make sure it seals when you put it in. That's as I'm showing here on the video. You need to do it on both sides. And now I've got this is actually K&N, but never mind. We'll do the same job. It's air filter oil, but I thought I'd better just spray some of that on. Spray it front and back if you're going to do this, just to make sure there is enough on there. Just make sure it covers all the way over the whole of the fibre surface. You can fit it, but make sure you do not start the engine for at least an hour to let it have time to seep into the fibre of the air filter. Now I'm just putting the grease around the air filter before putting it in. Now when you put it in, just put it all the way in. Try and make sure it's seat right to the bottom. Just push down all over in all different areas, even in the little groove, just to make sure that it's seated as best as you can. And you'll notice that the part where the screw goes in doesn't actually sit flush, but don't worry about that. I think that's just a slight design flaw where they haven't moulded that flush. Just screw the screw into the rubber hole of the air filter just to get it started in that, because it's quite tight on that, and then just screw it into the actual air box until it just firms up a bit. You don't really need to do it tight because you'll just start squashing the rubber of the air filter, and it's going into plastic anyway, so you don't need to do it tight. And then just wipe it down, make sure it's nice and clean, and you should be good to go. Now we can put the tank back on. There's rubber grommets you can see just before I put it back on where the tank mounts. They just slide into that. Once you've got the tank off, you'll be able to see where there's the grooves that go around the rubber grommets or mounts at the front, and that just sits on there. And you just make sure it sits on those, and then you can put the back of the tank down. And we'll just want to prop it up again with the wood, because you need to reconnect the bits and pieces underneath. First of all, I connected the fuel pump power cable. I did need to lower it slightly just to make sure I could connect it properly, and then put it back in its place. Then you need to reconnect the little pipe, which is either a pressure release pipe or an overflow pipe. I'm not sure which one that really is. All you need to do is either press the little crimp in with your fingers or with some pliers, or just push it back on. For some reason I had no problem pushing it back on without pressing the clip down, so you probably won't need to do that. Just work it on, just make sure it goes fully on, and it should be fine. And then we're around the other side again to reconnect the fuel pump hose. When you're putting this on, hold the tank on the other side as I am as well, just to make sure you're not pushing the tank off, because obviously it's still not fully connected. Push it on quite hard. You are supposed to, from what I've heard, you are supposed to hear a click as it goes on. I pushed it quite hard, but I heard no click, so I just made sure I pushed it on and just tried again a couple of times, putting a fair bit of pressure on it. It's a hard bit of plastic, so you shouldn't really be able to break it. Just make sure you hold it right so you're not pushing down on it or anything, just pushing it straight towards the pipe that's going on. And after doing that for a little bit, I thought, well, it must be on now. I've not heard the click, but it must be on. So I tried to put the red clamp back in, pressed it, and that just clicked back into place. So that was all good. I was happy with that. So I moved on to the next stage, where you have to, where it's best before you put it all together, start it up and just let it run for a few seconds or so, rev it a few times, just keep checking around the fuel pump line to make sure there are no leaks coming out. You'll notice almost straight away, I would think, if there's any fuel leaking through it, and luckily it's all fine. Then all you need to do is put the tank down, put the seat clamp back on, and put the bolts back in. Do them up nice and snug. I'll put the torque setting on screen. I didn't torque them up because I don't want to use my torque wrench at the moment, because I'm not really trusting it at the moment because it's quite old. It was rarely used, so it's just sat around mostly, and it might be fine, but I accidentally one time backed off the adjuster on the end, so I didn't know whether that would take it out of calibration or not. It would be best to get a new one, I think. But these won't be that tight, so I just snugged them up, just gave them another little turn just to make sure they're nice and tight, but not too tight. Then we go on to the side panels. Just make sure the rubber grommet at the end goes on the little lip under the side of the tank. You'll feel where that is, you'll know where that is already by this point in the job, and then all you've got to do is push the little plastic nubs into the rubber grommets on the bike, and then you just do the screw up and that's on, and then you just do the same again on the other side. And I'll speed that up because there's no need to see that twice fully because you'll know how to do that by now. You've seen it on the other side, as I say, and once you've taken them off, you'll know how to put them on easy enough when you do this job. And then after that, all you have to do is put the seat back on, and that's the job done. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's helpful. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, that'd be really helpful. Got any questions, put them down below in the comments section, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video, which should be the chain and sprockets. And I've also got the Scorpion exhaust video to come as well, and then we'll be taking it out for a ride after those jobs are done. I've already got a video up of me riding it after this job, just a quick little test while I was popping out after doing it. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching again. I'll see you again soon.